Super giveth and super taketh. Hey guys, MasakoX here. Episodes 118 and 119. Such an interesting pair of episodes to compare. One of them was an actually pleasant swan song to some of the universes that we've grown to at least tolerate. And the other one was just a bloomin' mess. Now before we continue, there are going to be quite big spoilers for these episodes, and if you haven't caught up with Super yet or you don't watch Super at all, I really suggest that you give this video a skip until you are safe and ready to do so. These episodes are going to be slightly different to the regular discussion. In this one, we're going to actually reflect more than I can in the regular reviews. It's a little feature I now like to call super detailed. So, let's get super detailed about episodes 118 and 119. Let's start off with episode 118, written by Hiroshi Yamaguchi, the guy who wrote episode 109, you know, the creepy trippy black hole episode, and directed by Masato Mitsuka, the guy who directed episode 110. Right off the bat, we are hurled into the action and given some really big plot points from the get-go. It's very, very in your face. It's actually a recent tactic in Dragon Ball Super's history, and I think there's a reason why they do it. They want to capitalize on the streaming watch time, you know, dem analytics. After that, we get some rather intriguing info. Universe 2 has actually been broadcasting the Tournament of Power to their public. At first you might think, well, this is kind of weird, but actually it suits their style down to the ground, and it actually raises the stakes for Universe 2. They've really got to do their universe proud because everybody is watching. And it actually makes us sympathize more with Universe 2 because we now know the civilians have a stake in the Universe 2. They are all in this together, and if they go down, they will unite with the power of love. It's actually kind of poignant. Now, at the beginning of episode 118, I kind of had the idea that Universe 2's destruction was a done deal. After the fact that Ribrianne had been eliminated in the previous episode, there wasn't really any kind of hook for Universe 2 to hang in there. The three remaining fighters had not really shown much potential up until now, so you kind of think, yeah, they're gonna get trounced. Ordinarily, these three fighters would have been picked off within a few minutes, but thanks to that connection with the civilians of Universe 2, it gave them the motivation and the drive to keep going, just to hang in there more, and the fact that Ribrianne and the other kamikaze fireballs lent them their powers gave them that little extra edge. All of that came together. We actually had more sympathy towards them, the civilians threw their sympathy at them, the power of love did conquer all, at least for a little longer. It was an attempt by the writers to try and make us feel less polarizing towards Universe 2 because a lot of people don't like that universe and the kamikaze fireballs after so many episodes of the same thing over and over again. Nothing new. Now we've got something new. When it comes to composition, we actually got some really cool shots of Zerline, Zabuto, and Ranbara. Despite their lack of power, they really gave it their all, and I'm somewhat kind of proud of them. They punched above their weight, and they really did their universe proud. And did you note that for the preview for episode 118, we saw nothing about what they did, or at least not the majority of what they did. Toei kept that a secret from us. We just saw regular old Namekians fighting Piccolo and Gohan. Now speaking of the jolly green giants from Universe 6, we actually got some really cute interactions between them and Caulifla. It's nice to see Universe 6's team actually speak to each other. Again, it's another way to actually generate sympathy towards Universe 6 to make us feel more connected with them. Although they really didn't need to try that much because we were already endeared to Universe 6 after many months, in fact a couple of years, of knowing about their existence. This latest push was for the characters that had little to no involvement in the Tournament of Power up until now. Well, I mean, except Dr. Rota. Then, something truly amazing happened. We got some meaningful development for the Universe 6 Namekians. For so long, we knew nothing about them other than the fact they're just slightly green turquoisey from Piccolo. But no, we got some meaningful backstory for them. Quite a lot for such a short space of time. They basically fuse with hundreds of their kind. They are the amalgamation of their people. They are one unit fighting. So, wow, that's really deep. And we got the reason for why Salmon and Pirina hadn't really done anything up until recently. It's because they needed to actually let their fusion settle down a bit before they could actually go whole hog. So in the meantime, we got pretty much the red shirts of Universe 2 giving us a dazzling spectacle to actually go alongside the action with the Namekians. It's a really good double act. We got possibly one of the most ridiculous transformation sequences in the entire series. It was just such a contrast. It's funny, it's flashy, it's unexpected. It's pure Dragon Ball. Toei put 3 characters with whom we had no expectations of and made them the center of the episode, and they managed to pull it off. There's more. We actually got to see an unexpected tag team between 17, 18 and Goku, and that is really unusual considering the fact that 18 and Goku don't exactly get along well. It's only recently that they've actually started to, talk to each other. But it works. In fact, every tag team in this episode works. We are also beginning to see a pattern as to how Beerus deals with his feelings when he's put on the spot. He does so by hiding them deep down in his subconscious. He does not want to deal with them. His whole internal struggle about how to deal with the situation of the erasure of his brother that's impending and then happens is actually really endearing. We actually get to relate with Beerus more. It really adds additional depth to the character. It's great to see Beerus being properly handled now. Right at the beginning of Super, I was beginning to get a bit worried because this was not the Beerus that I really grew to love in the movies. Something had happened that made him unlikable. Thankfully though, at this point they've totally fixed it, and now I like Beerus more than ever. Everyone really got a good look in. Well, I mean, except for Vegeta and Frieza, but hey, they've had plenty of time to be in the spotlight. We got to see the androids and the Mechians, Piccolo, Gohan, the 3 red shirts from Universe 2, actually managed to figure in something quite significantly. Goku was just helping them out, not the main attraction. Such a refreshing change of pace. Can I just say how awesome Piccolo was in this episode? And can I say how awesome it was that we got to see inside his internal psyche again? We got to see Nail and Kami, they're still there? Kami, the deity, the former guardian of Earth, the father figure for Piccolo, points out that Gohan has managed to actually make their relationship go full circle. That moment is so important for those 2 characters, mostly because it actually ends the story of a young boy and a slug man just trying to have some kind of working relationship. Well, I mean, until episode 119 completely undid it, but hey, for now, I was completely overwhelmed. Piccolo can now focus on being a fighter, and he doesn't have to take care of Gohan anymore. Man, I love that scene. Hiroshi Yamaguchi, well done. We then move on to the heavy Blackheart scene where the 3 members of Universe 2 launch the Pretty Black Hole, and to see such a tense and really intimidating moment, having such a weird and amusing name is such a juxtaposition. It's classic Dragon Ball and I love it. It also meant that we knew that Universe 2 and Universe 6 were going to be dropped out because here we come, there's going to be a big plot point here to round off the episode. We get the father-son Kamehameha, only this time no one has to be carried, and together they actually take out the adversaries from this episode. I find that oddly poetic, and then the feels start. But what was really disappointing was the lack of Hit actually doing anything. It seemed like after his fight and elimination, they really didn't know what to do with him. He just kind of sat there, eyes closed, doing nothing, like he was just harumphing ultimately. It would have been cool if there was a moment with Hit looking at Goku, a smile, then he would have been erased. No connection. That was such a shame. Missed opportunity there. What was Champa trying to do with Beerus with that taunt? Was he just purely trying to taunt Beerus? Was it a way to make Beerus laugh and not be upset? Was it meant to anger Beerus so that means he'd be distracted and not lose focus on the ultimate endgame? It was ambiguous, and all the things that I've listed just now, they could all be applicable. What is going on inside Beerus' head right now is anybody's guess. But one thing is for sure, something that I can safely pin upon. He must be feeling deep sadness right now, although he's not going to show it. In summary, I find episode 118 to be one of the best written episodes in the entire arc, and arguably, actually the entire series. It's just such a shame that 119 couldn't hold a candle to it. This episode was written by the newcomer Ayumu Hisao. Judging from their credits, they seem to be new to the industry, but they have been writing some Ace Attorney episodes, so that's got to count for something, and take that. We start off with Vegeta duking it out with Kato Plesser, the walking, talking Kamen Rider gag that has been going on for way longer than he should have. But you know what? I've kind of grown fond of Kato Plesser. He's really been punching above his weight. I'm really kind of proud of the guy. He gets another modal changey and another power boost that changes his power somewhat differently. And yeah, now is the time for me to point out that I made a big mistake in Dragon Ball Super. A lot of you called this out and I was really surprised. So the ultimate mode I thought was just a carbon copy of the battle mode. It's an amalgamation of the battle mode and the whirlwind mode. So it's kind of everything goes up by 300 times. So yep, okay, I'll hold my hand up. I'll admit, sorry, my bad. But then Kato Plesser gets knocked out of the ring in a really cheap way. Undeserving, I think. After that, Vegeta gets targeted by the mysterious fighter. And if any of you guys have been catching up with spoilers and hints and rumors and leaks for Dragon Ball Super, then you might begin to get an idea of who this guy might be. Someone from Universe 4? Is it one of those two ambiguous fighters that we've not seen pictures of up until now? Yeah, it is. So remember all of my excitement about Gohan and Piccolo from episode 118? Yeah, all of that is stripped away in 119 in just one scene. One scene. I know that the phantom shoving of Gohan was supposed to be a surprise attack and actually add some impact that even Gohan could be hit, but the fact that Gohan needed Piccolo's help to still be in the tournament, it completely negated the previous episode. Piccolo still had to carry Gohan. There had been nothing learnt. What a way to throw everything in terms of development from last week. You may as well have not watched it. But surprise though, all of this was not from the bug guy. It was from the invisible warrior Gamisaurus. Now here comes another mistake of mine from the review proper. It goes back to what Roshi said with Gohan about using blood to make their attacker visible. That was a nod to something that happened in the original Dragon Ball. It's a nod to what happened with See-Through the Invisible Man and how the gang were able to actually find him using blood. So yeah, sorry about all that. I got caught up in the inconsistencies of episode 119 that I made an inconsistency of my own. The way in which Gohan and Piccolo defeat Gamisaurus isn't the most elaborate plan in the world, but yeah, it works. It's solid. Then we have little Shansa using his powers to try and mess with the fighters of Universe 7's minds. And you know what? It was actually kind of decent, despite the fact that the preview totally ruined his gimmick, and that it was only around for about 2 minutes. 2. I timed it. With Gamisaurus and Shansa gone, with barely half the episode done, it's just up to Damon now to keep Universe 4 in the fight. And then Piccolo gets erased. But what would have been better is for Piccolo to have been eliminated in that episode. Have a crescendo. Have Piccolo have some kind of denouement right there. And that would have been much more sensical than just having it here. It feels like an afterthought, and that is undeserving for Piccolo. Luckily for us though, what was satisfying was the collaboration between Goku and 17. Together, they actually managed to get the job done. Damon, who seemed to be quite irritating and really hard to get rid of, they managed to get rid of. So yeah, Universe 4 was done within one episode. Right. While seeing Kitella having a complete breakdown is almost as satisfying as seeing Ro begging for his life, something just didn't feel right. All the other Universal erasures, especially the last two, had some kind of emotional weight behind it, whereas this one didn't. It's really unfair for Universe 4 because there are a lot of interesting characters here. In fact, some of their fighters had some of the most interesting gimmicks out of the entire lineup of fighters. Granted, Kitella was an absolute jerk, but it's completely unfair to lump everyone else in the same bucket as him. I really wanted to spend more time with these characters and see how they truly work. They just were there to show, I can do this. Okay, I'm out. This episode was the exact opposite of 118. In Universes 2 and 6, I really cared when they were erased. With Universe 4 in this episode, I really didn't care. It was just really poorly handled. And what made it worse is that you put it right after an awesome episode. It will just make a really iffy episode's flaws more apparent. The fights here also felt like they belonged earlier on in the arc, right at the beginning of the tournament rather than near the end. I'm beginning to feel that the next few episodes are just going to be the writers cleaning up the fighters they really can't think of an idea for, so that means they can get towards the grand finale. I hope that I'm wrong, and that Universe 3 can actually give us some good spectacles and hang in there for a few more episodes. Let's just hope that this was just a small minor blip towards the end of the arc and that it's all going to end up okay again. So what do you guys think? Did you like Super Detailed? Do you think that episode 118 and 119 are complete polar opposites? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. Catch you later!